What it is and what it do. Hey, look, and I know we not as part of the MEAC or the CIAA, but the Benedict College Tigers are still undefeated, riding high after our wonderful showing Thursday night on ESPN2 with our 48-6 victory over Fort Valley. All right, shout out to my Tigers. But anyway, we gonna get rid of that. Sit that to the side. I'll sign it if y'all want me to autograph it later. So what's going on, gentlemen? Another great weekend of football. A lot going on in that CIAA. Not much from the MEAC. We only had three teams playing this weekend, and a rough weekend. They took some L's this weekend. So we'll get into that. But with that, let me check with Brother Mackey, Will McKee. How you feeling this evening?
Hey man, you ought to be a little bit more proud of your alma mater, man. You really need to step
I'm
up
working on it.
your
I'm working on it.
yeah. I mean, between the cup, the T-shirt, the Benedict microphone, the let's see what else you got there, the cufflinks. Let's see, yeah, you're really not showing a lot of school pride, man. You need to do better. Uh,
Now
but you know,
He got a Benedict
yeah,
onesie.
yeah, you got some
He
growing to
got
do in that area,
he got a
man. Good to
Benedict
see you,
onesie back
brother.
there somewhere
I got a Benedict onesie. That's
with
what you say.
with the
Okay.
feet in them. He got it's the one with the feet in them too. It ain't the
But you know,
it ain't we
but you
it
know
ain't
what's consistent. You know what's consistent with that, Mac. You know what's consistent with that
what's
is
that?
that number one. Is that number one? That's what's consistent. So I'll wear the onesie all day because it's
Uh,
consistent with the number one mantra. But go ahead, McKee.
no, shout out to y'all. Like you said, we don't cover SIAC officially, but shout out. Very good showing on ESPN too. On the main stage, Benedict College. Uh, y'all look strong, man, from top to bottom. I mean, I'm gonna say this, and I'm gonna go to Brother D. Um, what I was impressed by Benedict, I said all along, y'all had the extra gear. Y'all have the extra gear that FAMU has, in my opinion. Y'all have the extra gear that North Carolina Central has. It's just that championship drive gear and the size and the height and the body types of your players. And you look D1AA. I'm gonna leave it there because anymore, and you'll need another size hat, my brother.
Don't look. Homecoming is this weekend coming up. So next Sunday, I'll be ready. I'll be ready. What's up, Mac? Talk to me.
I saw the Benedict win on and I was like, his head ain't gonna be able to fit on the screen this weekend. That's all I could think. We would
Well,
have
I
to
mean,
resize.
but you. I mean, now,
We would have to resize the whole aspect ratio to fit all that in here today. And I was like, and one in good fashion too. Like it wasn't like it was a close victory. They won 48-6. It was like, well, I don't know when we gonna hit the end of this one. But Benedict's doing well. I
That's right.
applaud you. Salute.
Give us our props, and our props we shall receive. But anyway, enough about my Tigers. Enough about my Tigers. We'll have plenty to talk about as the week. So let's start it off with the MEAC. Let's start it off with the MEAC. They only had 3 games on the schedule this week, so not much going on. But we had well. Let's start. Do you want to start with our game of the week, brother Mackey?
Why not? Why not? Dissertations, theses, uh,
And that was
research, development. Let's
the
go.
week was Howard versus Harvard, the Brain Bowl, ladies and gentlemen. Howard is playing an all academic schedule. They've played Northwestern. They've played Morehouse. I don't think their schedule could get any more intellectual. No, shout out to the real HU. but but Howard took a tough one going up against a Ivy League foe in Harvard and took a lump, 48-7. After that impressive showing against Northwestern last week, took a tough one, which further shows that it's been a tough season for the MEAC schools. What you think? What you think? Is it harming them only having 6 schools because they have to fill the schedule and they have to take some tough matchups? How you feel about that?
But I think that it can be a blessing or a curse. I always said, and I hope we do honorable mention for USCG too. D. We gotta have y'all's homecoming
Oh, yeah.
represented on this show. I'm so serious. We need to do a special day. When is homecoming at USCG?
I believe it was this weekend.
Oh, it's this weekend. Okay, next show
I believe it was this past weekend. I'm not 100% sure.
okay, we'll write it in the script though, because big shout out to Sparty. Yeah. So
It's
Harvard.
So it's this week.
Oh, it's this coming weekend.
Yeah, this coming week.
Okay, it's
Once
a great
again,
affair too.
they try to model themselves after the Benedict College Tigers. Can we at least have our own homecoming week, Mac? No. Okay. Go ahead, Fakir.
Yeah.
I'm on one tonight. We better not lose.
Yeah, let me say a quick piece about the scheduling for the MEAC. Like Ben said, you got 6 teams. The MEAC is down to 6 football schools. It's a few more in basketball because you got Coppin State. Who else we got that plays basketball in the MEAC?
Maryland Eastern Shore.
Yeah. So Maryland Eastern Shore. Yeah. So it could be a blessing or a curse. I always thought that North Carolina A&T should have considered staying. I'm not opposed to anybody elevating, leveling up. And that's no disrespect to the MEAC. That just says, let's say, if you got a program that has D1A aspirations, hey, pursue it if you can do it.
Right.
And yes, you can if you have the will and the determination and you garner the money. I'm not for blocking anybody, but I'll say this: I thought North Carolina A&T should have considered staying MEAC because with them you only have 7 schools, which leaves a big non-conference opportunity to schedule as many. See where we're at as a program games if you want to. I mean, you got 4 or 5 games to play with, which you could do all top tier D1 if you want to. You could do upper echelon 1AA right there and stay in the MEAC. Kind of similar to Gonzaga in the Western Athletic Conference in basketball. They could have moved to the Pac-12. They could have moved anywhere. They've been a perennial top five for the past few years. But unlike some others in these days of conference realignment, they did a different approach. They said we're going to stay right in the WAC, play a tough non-conference schedule that's worthy of being a top 10 basketball program and enhance the conference that we've been in that's been so good to us. I thought A&T should have entertained that. But having said that, I'll kind of close this up by saying that, yeah, for scheduling, that is an issue. You got 5 games at least that you have to non-conference plan for. And as you said, Howard is doing the Ivy League circuit. Um, and there was a quarterback at Harvard named, let me see, he had a great day yesterday. Let's see, Pythagorean theorem. That's his name. Pythagorean theorem. He sized Howard up yesterday, and he measured them perfectly. And he and they went on to a 48-7 victory. On all seriousness, boy, that was a flat joke. I thought that Howard would have put up a much better fight coming out of Northwestern last week. Harvard cannot be that good. I mean, they're undefeated. They're 6-0, and the Ivy League conference is tough in basketball and football. It's up to Steve's at, but I saw Howard making it a game. I know they played it up in Boston, but my lord, 48-7. And then they say after the third quarter, it was so much it was academic after that. Boom, tag. I'm sorry. I apologize.
I knew he get it in. Hey, so that's tough. Yeah, yeah. I mean, you have to play these type schedules as you see with Central Howard. Everybody they've had multiple money games, so it's the nature. Um, Mac, any thoughts just on is it is it is it beneficial? Can the MEAC can they survive with this with only 6 football schools? Is it hurting? Is it hurting them? Because these teams, you know, are they able to really show how good they are with such a heavy non-conference schedule?
I think.
What you
I mean,
think?
it was weird when you looked at it because you immediately think like just just from looking at it at first glance, it's like, all right, MEAC has no team in the MEAC has any conference games. They're to this point, and we're what? Where are we now? 6 weeks, 6, 7 weeks in.
Yeah.
Everybody's 0 for 0. So you immediately think, oh, Google's effing up out here in these streets. They ain't even updating the MEAC. And then you realize they don't have any conference games until later on into the schedule. So we all
Yeah,
knew that when
this
when
week
North
coming up.
Carolina
Yeah.
A&T, yeah, this week coming up, and we all knew when North Carolina A&T left that it was going to take a hit, but not this kind, where they could be dicing in a few more conference games, but more importantly, they it looks like they could be, and I could be wrong, but it's just me outside looking in, evaluating. Based on how heavy the non-conference schedule is, it sounds like, or it looks like they're courting some of these teams to join the MEAC a bit. So they go to a lot of outside games and outside schedule to see if they can grow the conference itself. Because this is like, I if this is done anywhere else, let me know. But this looked weird to see you going this deep into the season before you get to a conference game. And that's just you.
Yeah.
You don't normally see week 8
Well,
conference games, and that's the first conference game of the season, and that's anywhere. I don't
yeah.
really care what level it is, high school, Division 1, 2, 3. This one was a little
But
weird for me.
but it could be, you see it's a double-edged sword. It could be a recruiting tool because you could play a couple more money games in other schools in bigger conferences and say, "Hey, look at our schedule. We're playing these teams. You can get exposure, but at the same time, it can make your success level look different, which could hurt
Yeah.
in the long run. You know, people say, "Hey, you're struggling. You have this record. Yeah, especially if you're a team that's not, successful in your conference. Uh, it can add up to some tough seasons, a lot of adversity to go through. It can be tough. But let me do this because we got a couple things we want to highlight. I want to get the blood flowing a little bit because first and foremost, I want to shout out these two gentlemen, uh, and brother D Mac. We didn't get a chance to really talk much about it last week, but uh, we had the opportunity to collaborate yesterday and try to pour into some young uh, men and women with our youth leadership conference yesterday that we held in Durham, North Carolina, and virtually. And brother D Mac did a wonderful job hosting and opening up the space in Durham so we could come through and have an excellent day, which brother Will McKee was able to speak at. And I just want to highlight it was an awesome day. Uh, so I wanted to give a shout out to Mac on the air, as well as his wonderful wife, who did a lot of work behind the scenes, uh, Sister Stella McDonald. So we give a kudos and a hats off to them for hosting a wonderful event. Any thoughts after yesterday, Mac? Besides the fact that you were a little tired, we know that
Yeah. No,
we
it was
worked.
dope, but I mean, it goes to show why I'm married to the Black Engineer of the Year. I just want to make sure we point that
Okay,
out and plug that in. She
well,
is
and
officially the Black Engineer of the Year. You can look that up. It was officialized. I don't know if that's a word, but
don't
she
think so.
is Black Engineer of
Maybe
the
fancy.
Year. She put her foot in it and got things set up and kept things going well. So shout out to her and shout out to you guys for coming
And where is
through.
she a graduate of? Hold on, before you move on, where is she a graduate of?
The fake blue and gold school that's across town, North Carolina A&T State University.
Okay,
So,
okay. Make sure we get that clear.
yeah, the other blue and gold. We'll that's what we'll call it. But yeah, so she attended there, and great job. I think it was a great job by everybody. Definitely, Ben for MCing, McKee for standing in, definitely special shout out to Harry Reeves dropping financial jewels, as well as Kevin Graves for dropping jewels about personal branding. Those were big. We got a lot of views. It's a lot of people watching yesterday, so it was a great event. Glad to say that we can do it. We got other events coming up, but that was definitely a great event to do. So I'm glad we had a chance to do it.
No doubt, no doubt. And then also second half of the show, what we have been talking about, as we prepare, teams are getting in the, the core of the conference season, and we start talking about championship time. We're gonna bring in Ken Free Jr. to kind of just talk about some of that pageantry around the history of our bowl games and some of the starts that our father, Ken Free Sr., was able to lay some foundational work in working with the SWAC conference, as well as the CIAA, SIAC, and bringing them forth certain classics and things of that matter. So we're gonna get in that a little more in the second half. But just to go through some scores, other scores of MEAC, Norfolk State took a tough loss to Tennessee State, and then the Bulldogs, your Bulldogs, McKee South Carolina State, had a tough one against Tennessee Tech, 28-7. So
MEAC
um,
had a rough day yesterday.
they had a rough day. They had a rough day, but Thursday night they'll be on. On ESPN2, you'll have North Carolina Central taking on the Morgan State Bears. So we'll kind of be looking forward to that game on Thursday, the MEAC season opener. And once again, I'm not sure now the Central. I was thinking Howard might creep up in there. Morgan's been on kind of a slide. I, I, I'm not sure Central's gonna get much of a challenge. We thought Norfolk State was kind of. But now it's looking more like the Eagles are gonna, no pun intended, fly away with it. Talk to me, man.
Yeah,
Was
I think you're
go ahead.
right. It's looking like. Go ahead, D.
No, go ahead. Go ahead, Becky. I'm sorry.
Oh no, I'm gonna jump right back in there, D. I'm just gonna say real quick. Well, I agree with you, B, and it doesn't look like it. It looks like North Carolina Central has that extra, that talent, that extra gear. Uh, they've been in various type of games. They've been behind a little bit here and there. They played the upper echelon D1. They have that experience, and in each situation, with the exception of UCLA, but it's UCLA. Um, they have worked their way out of every situation, from the skill positions to the interior line to that great quarterbacking that they have. They're gonna be tough. I want you guys, and I'll send it to y'all maybe next week. You mentioned Tennessee State beating Norfolk State. Coach Eddie George, Hall of Famer, NFL Hall of Famer, head coach at Tennessee State, made an interesting comment uh, sometime after the game. He said, and I've heard that, we've all heard this in HBCU circles in some form or fashion. He said to the Tennessee State fans, I wonder if you love football. And he does not feel supported. I kind of talked a few weeks ago about that slide after those classics at the beginning of the year, with the games that are on TV of the top talent in the country. You could argue, and the SEC 3 o'clock game. You got the ACC games at the sports bars, and uh, Division II, 1AA, particularly HBC, takes a slide. So I just wanted to get in the upcoming shows. Eddie George went straight at the Tennessee State fans, but we all in Black college sports heard that before. What's the commitment of the fan base? If it's not a classic, if it's not whatever, uh, when ESPN comes to your town, do you show up?
Yeah.
Do you show out? Do you fill up that bottom row at least? So we'll discuss that in upcoming.
Go ahead, Mac.
No, I didn't have anything to add. I think that's McKee's right on point with that. I didn't
And
have
you brought that
anything.
up. You brought that up last week, though, Mac. That we gotta show up the regular season and support, and we gotta make our programs that deal. But speaking of which, let's transition to the MEAC real quick, and then we're gonna take a brief pause, and then we're gonna come back with Ken Free Jr. Um, so let me start off with a shocker. Well, let me say not a shocker that they won, but the way they won. And I'm talking about
You meant
we had a big
CIAA.
matchup in the
Okay.
CIAA. We had a big matchup with Virginia Union and Bowie State up in the north. And Bowie's at somewhat of a slide.
Mm,
Um, they've had some struggles, but Virginia Union
mm.
beats Bowie 52-3. And I know Bowie was a favorite next to Union. They were the kind of the preseason top favorites in the north, but now uh, Virginia State somewhat in the mix top five, but they're actually trying to step out to the forefront. But uh, Bowie now having dropped three, it looks pretty tough. Looks pretty tough for Bowie to get back in that mix. So it looks like it's going to be between VUU and VSU, the battle for that Northern title at the end of the season, because the way the schedule lines up, looks like they may be seeing each other both undefeated in conference, going for that CIAA title, man. Um, Makia Rams got back on the winning track with impressive win, 41-20 over Shaw. Lincoln beat ECSU 27-21. St. Augs with John C. Smith with a victory over St. Augs. That South still looking jumbled up. Virginia State, another impressive win, putting up points, 39-23 over Bluefield State. And then our game of the week we wanted to focus on. We had a rising Livingstone that's been playing some good football. They gave a challenge to FSU, but the Broncos came out on top, 19-14. And as McKee says, until they're top, you still gotta go through the Broncos. So how you feeling about it? Do you think the Broncos are moving into that form to go ahead and seal the South and defend the title? Well, how you feel, Mac? How you feel?
Yeah, and I'm happy that my Rams got back in the winning column. It takes a lot for coaches to keep that level of being ready to play up, like I alluded to earlier. And we like to point out the finer points in HBCU sports as well. And you can get scores anywhere. But what we talk about in the margins, I think is huge. Like getting your team ready to play a game like that on a rainy day on a Saturday. Not to go in too deep into it, but shout out to our head coach there for having them ready to play. As far as Fayetteville State, just looking at the box scores here, it was a dog fight. Um, Livingstone, as they have all year, they came to play. They are not a, a 2-5 team uh, in my opinion, but that's where they stand right now. But they gave Fayetteville State all they wanted. I'll just say this real quick. I think Fayetteville State, as I said in previous weeks, is positioned and poised to come out of the South probably on top. I hate to say that, but that's the way it looks. I'll close with this though. They're not playing at a level as a complete football team. Uh, to take on Virginia State right now. If Virginia State is their team, or if Virginia Union is their team, uh, they're going to have to kick it up a notch really to be in that game. Or else I think that trophy will be moving from Fayetteville, North Carolina to Ettrick, Virginia, the home of it.
D
Beavers.
Mac, D Mac, talk to me.
I agree the same. I've been telling y'all about this kid Dalen out of Winston-Salem State, the quarterback.
Yeah.
So I still believe the fact that they putting that much trust in a freshman is saying a lot for me. So out of the South, still got hope for Winston-Salem State, because when you look at the games that they've lost, they were in those, with the exception of the first two, and it was Central that kind of put them away. So I'm still on the verge of saying for the CIAA, Central's, because that's who I picked up. It's Central's conference to lose, but I think when Salem State can creep back in there, as long as they continue to take care of business. They got St. Aug, Johnson C. Smith, Fayetteville State left in conference, and then you have the CIAA tournament that starts after that. So they still got a chance, but it's still Central's conference to lose.
Hey, look at the standings. It's gonna be tough because uh, with Fayetteville State still undefeated in conference, Johnson C. Smith 4-1 in conference. It's gonna be tough. If they can beat Johnson C. Smith, it brings them to a tie, but they're gonna need somebody to help them out with Fayetteville State down the stretch. to win it. And as we said, Virginia Union, Virginia State. Well, Virginia Union's 4-1 in conference. My apologies, 6-1 overall.
Yeah.
And then
Not,
Virginia
not
State.
my fault. I said
Uh,
Central. I don't know why I said Central.
yeah,
I meant Fayetteville State.
Fayetteville State. We know. Hey, you good? You good? And then, but Virginia State 5-0. So it's looking like it's going to come down between those two, and if Virginia Union can, if Virginia State, let me say rather, still undefeated, and Virginia Union still comes in with one loss, in that final matchup, that's going to be a big, very big game. Uh, so, so we'll see. It's going to be interesting winding down, but I think now you're starting to see the cream starting to rise. And then these last 2 or 3 weeks are going to be very crucial because Winston still has an outside shot. If they can upset Fayetteville State, which I think they have the potential to do because they can score points. Fayetteville State, though they're tough defense, they still struggle to score points. Uh, so if you can put up enough points, you got a chance. Johnson C.
Yeah.
Smith, same thing, not scoring a lot of points, tough defense. So Winston still has an outside shot, but they're going to need some help with Fayetteville State's remaining schedule, which um, will be next week uh, at home against Johnson C. Smith. Um, so that'll be a big matchup next week, and we'll see. That might help the Rams still battle. So look, with that being said, we got we got the Esquire himself, Ken Free Jr. in the back. We're gonna take a brief pause so we can get him on and situated. But when we take these brief intermissions, I like to play music from some of our CIAA and MEAC schools to highlight some of the successful individuals that have come out of these institutions. So we're gonna take it back old school HU. Now a couple weeks ago I played Eric Roberson from the HU. It was a little bit new, but now I'm gonna go back old school Howard University. Uh, and just make sure everybody know we don't own the rights to none of this music, but we're gonna go old school HU, and I'm gonna just let it show for itself. And then y'all just tell me what y'all feel. Let's go. Y'all see it. Y'all see it.
Oh, you went there.
yeah, younger and wiser. Time has shown the way. We've come full circle to say, yeah. 'Cause you and I back together again. The world is spinning. You and I.
So at this time, brothers and sisters of me acting up, I want to prepare you and shout out to the late great Johnny Hathaway and Roberta Flack representing the HU Howard University with the classic back together again. But now it's that time, as we promised. We're gonna get into a little depth, a little more, and we're gonna bring on the man, the myth, the legend, the namesake of the former commissioner of the MEAC conference, Kenneth Free Sr., none other than my brother, never be another, and we're gonna say it now. Future commissioner of the MEAC. I hope they don't come for me. Ken Free Jr. I don't have no hand claps. We can't afford those type of
Well,
sound effects yet.
I won't say what when you said that MEAC because I've got some opinions on that myself, but I'll keep that to about the
we go
MEAC.
we gonna say that for another
Yeah,
show. We gonna
that's
say that
another
for
show, especially after you're talking all these scores, and then I looked at some of the scores from my alma mater and some of these other schools, and still wondering what the heck they thinking. But that's another subject for
yes, ladies and
another.
gentlemen.
And I hope you have me back to be on that one.
We will. And yes, ladies and gentlemen, you have another disgruntled North Carolina A&T Aggie. But we not gonna do that.
Very disgruntled.
We gonna not let them vent. Y'all can't vent on this show.
Not
Listen,
venting, not venting. I just want to know, as our dad used to say, where their heads at, because I just don't understand. And again, this is a topic for another show, but are they Hampton, all these cats benefiting right now? What's the big benefit right now? And that's just I just don't get it. And not see A&T playing a South Carolina State is just blows me away.
that's right.
I
That's
mean,
right. And
it just blows me away. So I mean, it's just
that's
it's just
that conversation's gonna get deep. See, that's what I'm talking about. He's coming to bring the
no,
noise.
it's just y'all. Yeah, I was listening to the scores and everything, and just not. It's just, and then I said, well, let me just look at some other scores of some teams that used to be a part of what y'all do a great job of covering, and just wondering if they still are happy with the moves they made. But again, another story for another day.
So no doubt. So look, brought you on in because at this time we get, when the weather starts to change, October, we get into the grunt of the schedule because everybody's vying for these championship games and their conferences and some new bowl games.
Right,
You have,
right, right,
the MEAC and SWAC and the Celebration Bowl. Now you have the new Florida Beach Bowl, which will pit SIAC team up against the CIAA team.
oh yeah.
And going through the history because you're a little, even though, some say I look older than you now, but you're a little bit older. So you were kind of in the midst of everything as, you know, Pop Dukes was putting everything
Right,
together. And
right,
oftentimes,
right.
people don't know the history that before the Celebration Bowl, you had the Heritage Bowl,
Oh yeah, the
which was
Freedom
played
Bowl
in
before.
Miami.
Freedom Bowl before that.
Well, we're gonna come to that because that was the class, but we talking about like pitting
Oh yeah,
conference
yeah.
against conference in a
SWAC
championship
versus
type
MEAC.
game.
Yeah, SWAC versus MEAC. Mm-hmm.
So you had the Heritage Bowl, which was played in Miami. So just kind of lay out
In
because at
Atlanta.
the time of the first Heritage Bowl, you were an Aggie, correct?
Correct.
When
Yeah.
they played in the first Heritage Bowl against an awesome Alabama State
Very
team
awesome
at the
Alabama
time,
State team.
which
Hmm.
many thought could have won the one AA championship, but we're not gonna get into that. But just kind of go back and like what you remember about the Heritage Bowl and just some things. And I know you found some things going through that and stuff. Just talk about that and what it meant at the time to you.
Well, I think the biggest thing, and I think McKee can agree, and you certainly agree, was the vision that our dad had about what he wanted, uh, as far as what he was seeing, what they say the traditional bowls and what the money that was being generated. And, it's about exposure, not only for the schools, but for your conference. So, I mean, for a chance for where black colleges, until we talked about the Gold Bowl and all those. Until then, there was really nothing there for HBCUs. They started playing by getting the automatic berth in the one AA playoffs, and then a lot of times it was one round, and then that was it. We know how seeding and everything could be during that time. But I think it was the vision of giving where these teams that accomplish something at the end of the year, plus giving people the opportunity or the exposure of some of these schools you don't get to see or that and get to know. For me to see Alabama A&M, never knowing much about them, only knowing through Daddy and stuff, because we were all about MEAC, not really knowing much about SWAC. That not knowing that other than Southern and Grambling and Jackson State, there were other SWAC
Mhm.
schools. So to have that opportunity, the football that was there, and the funny thing about it was, when you saw Alabama A&M and saw the football, but man, you thought
State,
they could
Alabama
battle with
State,
the
Alabama
SEC,
State.
Alabama State. You thought they could play in the SEC back then, the way
Mhm.
them cats were,
Yeah,
and the
yeah.
football that was being played. I mean, it was great to see. So that experience and knowing and doing that for not only the schools but for the kids, was was a great vision that Daddy wanted, and wanted us wanted the conferences to get behind and really make flourish.
No doubt. McKee, you got anything?
So yes, hey, welcome, Attorney Free here. Good to see you.
Good to see you,
Um,
man.
yeah. So talk about his vision. Commissioner Free's vision was everything you just said. One of the hot topics now is, and I'm gonna drag a little of North Carolina A&T in this question since you did bring that up. We know the millions of dollars that is to be had from the Division One bowl system. There's then the advent of, in recent days, the Celebration Bowl. So A&T had run the table with the Celebration Bowl for several years. Uh, the conference opted out of the NCAA playoffs, and now they're in the CAA conference as a good example. And postseason had a lot to do with those moves. What do you think, if you are a HBCU athletic director or a conference commissioner, um, how do you build your program uh, to make it continue to grow? Kind of what you said. Do you do it in the structure of the HBCU conference that you've always been in? Or I know you've already kind of spoke on it, but do you see the vision that NCAA had by saying we can't really do this in the MEAC? We got to explore uh, other places. How do you see growing a program?
Well, the question is, what are you seeing? That's the question. I don't know what they're seeing. it was a lateral move to go from CAA MEAC. It wasn't up or down. Two, you know, I like to look at our recruiting if it's helped recruiting because, at first that was the big thing. It was going to expose us to that. Well, if you ain't winning, who's going to want to come to your school? If you're traveling to New York to play a team, which they did their first year when they were in the first conference they were in, they getting blown out. So who's going to say that's the school I want to go to that just got beat 50 to nothing? So I'm wondering and then as opposed to you could play in Winston-Salem State and have 50,000 people there. You can play Morgan State and have 50,000 people there. Because at least if you lose, you make money. Them teams aren't making money off of A&T. A&T's not making money off of Delaware, off of a Villanova, off of anything. So my thing is, I don't know what they saw or this exposure that they wanted. They were winning with the formula that they had and growing the MEAC. They got built the bowl up from the Heritage Bowl and built it to where they're on national television. NBC plays the Celebration Bowl now, and we'll keep on playing it until people really stop coming, or as which is another topic for another day. One of the conferences dies because people are seeing, or seeing something that's just not there. The playoff system, the way they do it, it's hard, and you see the bowl championships. They're doing it now or trying to do it, but they still using the bowl setting and making the money off of the bowl setting in promoting their championship. I thought it was beautiful to give, A&T is every team. Let's say, for example, A&T lucks up and wins the CAA. They're not going to get a high seed, so they're going to have to go somewhere and play a top seed. All travel is on them. They have to spend money. They lose money playing in the 1AA playoffs. Lose money. They don't make money, especially if they're not hosted. They're not making any money. And what to do what? To lose by 30 something points. Now, as opposed to Central, who will probably they'll go maybe win 8 ball games this year, 9 ball games this year.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And they have a chance to get $1 million. So you do math wasn't my best subject, but $1 million of something is a lot more than $1 million of nothing. And for what? What are you gaining? I mean, you look at the big football games A&T used to have. You would have D. You would have Ben. You would have McKee. A&T Central. A&T South Carolina State. Winston-Salem State. Howard University when they play them.
Mm-hmm.
Those are money games. Money games. A&T's homecoming is going to be A&T's homecoming regardless. Anybody's homecoming. Look at Hampton got beat 60-something to 3 in their conference. They're not going to win it. When did they win the conference championship? I mean, so all in all, I don't know. Unless they want to do like Tennessee State and get a hockey team. I just don't know what the purpose of making this lateral jump. Now, if you saying I'm going ACC, who can fault you if they want you? But that's not going to happen. I just see the advantages then for recruiting purposes. It gives you the money you need to go back to answer your question. The way you get recruits, and you know this, is by what your program has to offer in developing kids. Education's first, of course, but developing kids and those kids who have the potential to make it to the next level in some way, shape, or form, their best avenue of getting there. Can A&T say they're providing that right now? You go in Celebration Bowl, you saw their wins in Celebration Bowl. You saw what their weight room became. You saw what their facilities became. And that's how you win kids. That's how you win kids. Bells and whistles. Look at what you by coming here. Look at the impact you're going to come here. That's how you get transfers. Because we win. We go into a bowl game. You're going to have that experience. We go into Miami. You spend a week in Miami and have fun. You can't have fun in Miami, something wrong with you. If we go into Atlanta, and we're gonna spend a week in Atlanta and have a good time, and we're gonna make money for our program. That's how you, to me, that's what
Yeah,
I always thought built a program. The money you
yeah.
brought in, the revenue, so you can make your facilities and your program look even better. I just don't
Now,
see that with A&T and the CAA.
Mac, Mac, you got anything?
No, I mean, I mean, when you look at the CAA, it looks like A&T wanted more exposure. From a geographical standpoint, I mean, number one, they have double the teams that the MEAC has currently, and two, it covers almost twice the space. So wouldn't we say that it's more of the exposure to new areas because it didn't go any further than wherever South Carolina State is? I'm still not even sure where that is.
Well, no,
One
you
It
had
went down to
FAMU
Tallahassee, went
and
down to
Bethune.
Daytona
You had
Beach,
FAMU and Bethune in there too.
and then it went up to Dover,
Yeah, so
Delaware.
Dover,
So it was
Delaware is
all
as
on the
far
east.
north as it went. But in FAMU in the MEAC?
Yes.
Yeah,
They went. That's right. They came out too. But now it doesn't go any further south than South Carolina State. So it sounds
No.
like when the moves were made, it was like we need to, in order to grow the program, we need more exposure. But y'all would understand this better than me. What do they get exposed? I'm kind of with Kenny on this one. What do you get from the exposure when you're losing?
But the thing about it, you're not getting those kids anyway. Those kids up north aren't going to go to A&T unless, or you're going to get the kids you would have gotten anyway. I
yeah.
mean, why would a kid, if Villanova's in the Villanova they play is in Pennsylvania, why am I going to say I'm gonna come all the way to Greensboro, North Carolina, just to get my head beat in when I can play at Villanova or go to another school? They got Division II schools that are better, that are more appealing in Pennsylvania than A&T is right now. And then where are you going to go after the season's over? Where's A&T going? And I mean, where are they going? They're not going to win the conference. Hampton, where are you going? And and it's just like, and you say exposure. What kids? I like to see a geographical, other than what the kids that come in, that usually from the north because their parents went to A&T and everything. How A&T and everybody are benefiting from playing this schedule when they're going to get the kids they would normally get in the first place. Their program hasn't grown. It
What it,
hasn't gotten
So
better. Hasn't gotten
what
better.
well, the main thing that you mentioned too is also the rivalries are lost.
Hmm.
That's the thing that I think hits the most is the loss of some of those rivalries. A&T, South Carolina State, um,
Just to piggyback,
but
A&T,
yeah,
Winston. I mean,
yeah.
Bethune and Fam coming to A&T was always big
It
with the
was
battle of the
great
band.
with the bands and everything. But that's the
And I
key.
think
That's the key.
I I think had T not left, I think FAMU and Bethune might have been a little more hesitant to leave. But
But Bethune had to leave when Fam left because that's
yeah,
the other thing
yeah,
that's why Oklahoma wasn't gonna leave. Texas wasn't gonna leave Big 12 until Oklahoma came with them because they weren't gonna lose that money.
yeah,
They're not gonna lose that money.
they're not gonna lose
Southern
that money.
Cal and Stanford's the biggest rivalry is them. That's why they come into the ACC together. I mean, UCLA, USC, Big
Yeah.
Ten. I mean, they're not gonna lose that money. At the end of the day, it's about that cheddar. I mean, I mean, you can't have a program if you don't have the money to spend on it. That's why the Division II they're having their bowl game. They're trying to build a bowl game because they want that revenue. They need that revenue
The revenue. And that's the exposure
and exposure. Yeah,
that you should seek. That's the national.
yeah,
That's where you utilize putting your best of the best on the center stage. I
exactly.
think a lot of that is where your exposure because we do that, and I think a part of it too. A&T wants to kind of move out of just simply being one of the best historically black colleges, universities. and want to be one of the best universities. We understand that, and I think they're trying to broaden their scope, maybe,
But that's why you
to
have, but
appeal.
that's why you have a non-conference schedule. They played Carolina. They played Duke.
They, yeah, what?
I
But
mean,
that's another show. So we want to,
okay.
but, but we base it on talking about the
About the
origins,
but what
the
right about bringing in the key. I think that was Daddy's vision was, and to touch on what McKee said, the exposure to make your football even better. Plus, I think we can't go without saying the influence the Bayou Classic has.
yes,
And I
yes,
mean that has that influence because of the exposure, gets the names out there who the people can see. That's why, and I just want to emphasize to all these Dion fans, yes, HBCU football was around before Deion Sanders came to Jackson State.
uh-oh,
So,
uh-oh.
so that's another topic for another day.
That's
But,
another. He's on one. See, y'all thought I was on one.
but, but I think the influence of that, because kids were going to Grambling and Southern, why? They wanted to play in the Bayou Classic. Grambling and Southern said, the heck with the 1AA
Playoff,
playoff.
yeah,
Because they make more money at the Bayou.
at the Bayou.
So
You got
somebody,
the
I
TV
mean,
contract with NBC,
yes,
who's held that for 30 years.
yes. And just,
So,
and they sell
yeah,
out the Superdome and there's more people in the parking lot.
yeah,
I mean, they get 100,000 fans, I'm telling you, every year at the Bayou Classic. So it was piggybacking on that, and also about the exposure, the money, the money, and building your conferences. Because if you build that product, that's why I have to say, making a move. Appalachian State did it right. They did it right.
yeah,
That's how you do. And now they're in what, football championship, right?
yeah,
Yeah.
They did it right. They did it right. They stayed where they could dominate a conference, but win, build, but say, look, we playing Michigan. Look, we playing Texas A&M. Look, come on if you want exposure. We on the cover of Sports Illustrated. You know, build, and then boom, next thing you know, they
Yeah.
make
yeah.
the jump.
So staying on
Quick,
that track.
quick question.
Go ahead.
I'm glad D raised that though, because there wasn't a groundswell of A&T didn't, their fan base didn't leave kicking and screaming. Anybody that says they did, if they weren't kicking and screaming enough, they were riding the high of beating East Carolina uh, in a
Charlotte.
great game down in Greenville. They were riding the high of kind of the dynasty. We're running the table in the Celebration Bowl. We're ready. And if you look at the other programs at A&T, they are Dr. Harold Martin's philosophy was kind of like be excellent or be extinct. He says so much in his speeches. And so everything that A&T was in that was historic, they were making the leap to other areas for what D said, exposure from that perspective of exposure. So I'm glad because the A&T fan base is speaking up now, but we didn't hear this. There were people that were
Right.
saying when it was announced, when they were riding high, not a good idea. So their fan base, I ain't gonna say they all wanted it, but they didn't object to the degree that I felt like they should.
You're right,
Um,
and it's a shame. It's a shame.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I want to quickly say before we pivot, um, one of the tragedies is how the NCAA views our MEAC second place and third place teams. And I know they rank conferences based on uh, various factors. Won't get into all of those tonight. But let's say your first place team takes the bowl opportunity at the Celebration Bowl. That second place team, because of the automatic berth and how the MEAC and the SWAC are ranked in 1AA, the strength assessment, it would be, we would have a better lot if that second and third place team was given the credibility to go to the playoffs.
Mm-hmm.
And then, because a lot of people have argued, and I'll be quiet after this, the Celebration Bowl as a mythical black national championship. And I know Commissioner Free, he wasn't just monotone on this. He was really an advocate for being a full 1AA member and participant.
Mm-hmm.
He wasn't striving to be sectarian and just to have this other bowl and we're not members. So it's kind of a complex issue, but if our second place and third place teams would get a berth, then you're still keeping that foot in the NCAA playoff, which is full membership. I think that's an issue too. I think that's a little bit of how the NCAA views the two HBCU conferences, and it's a little bit of we need some major wins in that one AA realm to be able to make the argument as well.
Right. Right. Yeah, I agree, but I I'm also, I guess we grew up, we traditionalists, in that, you know, I put it like this. I think the one thing Dion did right was his scheduling. And if you notice how he scheduled, and it still brought attention to his program, and it still, uh, even though he could recruit his butt off, and still, you can say you're a winner and get kids and get down there. The biggest thing that's hurting HBCUs has always been financial, facilities, all the time has been that, to be able. Ed Reed quit, then tried to come back at Bethune-Cookman, and then tried to say about the facilities and everything, which is ridiculous. Um, so I think that's a plague on all the HBCUs, with the conferences. But how do you resolve that? Leave? I don't think that's the issue. I think you stick to what what made you great. What made A&T great was the traditions, what they built. Um, they had outstanding coaches. They recruited locally, got the local talent in. Did a great job of that. A great job of that. And then said, "This is where we want to take the program." Uh, I'm of the opinion is you can be great, uh, you know, be great and dominate and still accomplish the goal of exposure and everything you need. You can play the teams that you might feel you above and beyond and win. But then if you feel like your program or you that, go out and play those teams if you want it. Like I said, Appalachian State did it right. They said, hey, we're going to play Michigan this year. We're going to play Arkansas. We're going to do this. We're going to show that we can compete. Even though we're 1AA and we're a top 1AA school, we still compete against those top schools. So why don't you come on the app? And then this is what our goal is in the future, and you can help us build that or be a part of that. Or we win a national championship on the 1AA level. I think for the HBCUs, I think it's about the money. Why, to go to your point, McKee, about the 1AA. I think they looked at loss and that like we lose money. You lose money playing in the playoffs, and then you got a chance to go somewhere for free, take your program for free, pay for it, and you got a chance to win $1 million. I mean, it's the dollars and cents as far as that, and why
And
that with the
Ken,
black, yeah,
Ken,
yeah,
to that
yeah,
$1 million point, that $1 million is huge.
yes,
That
it is.
Celebration Bowl million. Look at North Carolina Central after.
Right,
It's
that's
like a
right.
boost. They won it
And
last.
and
Yeah.
I want to stay on that because now if you're a kid being recruited by A&T Central Fayetteville State, and the state of North Carolina. Now you see Central not only is beating A&T,
Right.
they're going to this Celebration Bowl, likely a favorite maybe, with a chance where you're going to get the $1 million to keep, but the winner gets a little bit more, maybe
Right.
1.1 or something like
It was
that.
1.2 last year.
Yeah. So, but now you have
That's
Stanford
big
State.
money.
Let's say Stanford State wins the CIAA, they go to the Florida Beach Bowl, right? And then you got A&T struggling. Now, does that Aggie pride weigh out to that recruit, or does that recruit say, "Hey, I'm gonna go to success, to the successful programs that are getting national attention on these big stages"?
Right.
So to
Right.
that point, I think A&T starts to lose some of those recruiting battles too on the edge because, as you said, they move laterally. So I'm still in the same division as NC Central,
Correct.
and now even though I'm going to Monmouth and Villanova, we're not winning. Central is winning. They're playing on Thursday night football. We haven't seen A&T since they moved to the Big South first, and
Correct.
then to the
Correct.
now the CAA. We haven't seen them.
Haven't seen him.
But Central's on this Thursday night on ESPN2. Central's the likely favorite to win the MEAC again, to go back, defend their Celebration Bowl title. It comes down to a recruiting battle now, and these schools aren't afraid to recruit against A&T.
No.
And I think with that and A&T moving away from some of these rivalries, now they keep the Central rivalry, but moving away from some of these rivalries that they have within the MEAC, I think kids not only will they move towards Central, but you might see the CIAA begin to gain more recruits that want to stay locally because they're having these opportunities to play in these rivalries and be seen on the national stage. So let me move
Hey
to one
Ben,
more thing.
man, you didn't
Huh?
see the Villanova Alumni Association downtown Greensboro last week? You didn't catch them?
No.
I
No.
did not. I did not.
No.
I saw them.
I did
No.
not. I thought I saw Rolly Massimino somewhere around there. But
Oh,
anyway,
man.
Yo.
and
See.
Ed Pickney was downtown.
Well,
But
no. Indeed.
shout out to the '85 Villanova National Championship team.
It reminds me of the time when my fear is one. The biggest fear I have with that, and I just hope with the Heritage Bowl, I would hope, and you hate to say you hope some Division II teams like Winston State or Fayetteville State and them make the jump because MEAC's got to get some schools,
Benedict
man.
College.
Benedict's looking great. Like I'm just saying, if the BX got to get some schools, man, or there's not going to be a MEAC in about 2 years. There's just not because eventually Howard's going to leave if something doesn't change. Eventually, South Carolina State's going because people are going to come after just South Carolina State for the tradition. They're going to come after Howard because of the tradition. Plus, that's Kamala's place. So I mean, it's something's got
Well,
to happen.
well,
Um,
well, what?
or
Well, let me ask this. Well, what does that say? I mean, if the Celebration Bowl wasn't enough to keep A&T,
no, it's different. It's different.
I mean,
A
can
and T, no,
no, I
A
know,
and
I
T
feel you.
though. A and T is different, and you know what? We can't say what I want to say, but the mindset they thought they
Yeah,
were bigger than all that glitters ain't gold, but they thought they were
yeah.
bigger than the Celebration Bowl.
What is that? So that's the topic we'll get next time. Is that Celebration Bowl enough to keep the MEAC together?
Oh yeah, I don't see. I think people gonna come after them, but Central and them now, it's got to get better football. Like it's got to be better
I know.
football.
I agree.
It's got to
I
be better
agree.
football. I mean, you can't have
Because
one
that's the
one
spirit.
team just. I mean,
They gotta have a plan. I would think if
yes,
they don't get at least
definitely.
three more football
But you
schools
got to,
to
and
work.
what is the commissioner doing? Is he going after those schools? Do you go after like Daddy did? A lot of people don't know. Do you go after some historically white colleges and say, hey,
Yes, he did go after UNC Wilmington
there's
and
yeah,
cancel
why
back
not?
in the
Why
day.
not go to a top Division II like a Pembroke? and say,
Yeah.
"Hey, Pembroke, why don't you come on in, be 1 AA? Why not go after some of these? Why not, and say come in and you instant 1 AA because they can play for the championship right away. They don't have to sit and wait.
Yeah. And
So
that's
I,
key. And
and
I
it's
want to see her plans. I want to see her plans.
right,
Shout out to the
right.
commission
Yeah,
of the
yeah. I
MEAC.
just
But
we need to get three more good football schools in there, build it up, and because I think what y'all doing is great because the tradition of MEAC needs to live on. Tradition of the SWAC needs to live on. All the CIAA,
yeah,
CIAC, they all need to live strong
yeah,
and be strong. Now, CIAA is firmly rooted. It ain't going
yeah,
nowhere. But but I don't want to see what was built. And I'll just show y'all. I showed Ben this. Can y'all see that? The old school. This one was in Joe Robbie Stadium, baby.
Joe Robbie
If
Stadium,
y'all
the
remember
original.
Joe
That was the
Robbie,
blueprint,
yeah, the
the
original
first celebration bowl,
where
Wow.
they
the Heritage Bowl.
and that where they promised teams at that time, and this was what was
91,
1991,
91.
91, and that's when they at that time a $500,000. So I mean,
Yeah,
you just I
it's
mean
big. It's a big
it's
game.
what you can do and everything they can do and I just I I'm glad my dad had the vision. Our dad had the vision. I'm glad that people didn't mess it up, if you know what I mean.
Yeah, and
And
and a little
go ahead.
and a little history with vision and now the legacy, and we'll kind of close with this. But also year before last, I believe, along with the NFL Players Association, NFL, they started the HBCU Legacy Bowl,
Mm,
which was an all-star game for the top players at historically black colleges, universities. They do a combine, and then they have the football game, sort of like the Senior
yeah,
Bowls and
yeah.
all those. And this was specifically. Now we've seen this done several times, but the original, what many may not know, goes back to 1982.
Let's see.
I can't remember. But our dad, along with SWAC Commissioner Mr. Jim Frank,
Yep.
worked together
And
with
CIAC and CIAA.
the CIAA
Yeah.
and the SIAC to bring together the Freedom Bowl
Yep.
All-Star Classic, where you put the MEAC and
Whenever
CIAA
Jerry
schools
Rice's senior
against
year, whatever year that was.
whatever hit you. So Jerry Rice played in the
Yes, he
first
did.
Freedom Bowl All-Star Classic
Yes, he did.
alongside SWAC, and I'm gonna find the sweatshirts, the MEAC Pack Attack SWAC.
Oh man. And
But
how
they used to
about
play it in
and
Atlanta,
remember
and what was very
Forte was the head coach. And
yeah,
Jerry Rice turned down the Senior Bowl. He turned down the Blue Gray
yeah,
game to play in
yep,
the Freedom Bowl, and Forte double teamed the ball game.
double team, wouldn't let them get off.
Wouldn't let
And
him.
Jerry Rice goes on to
And
be the greatest receiver
and never,
in
but
NFL history.
chose to play.
Shout
And
out to Mississippi Valley
yeah,
State.
but he
But
double teamed him the
but
whole
what was
game.
but what was crazy was, we're in a box at the Freedom Bowl, and you look over and it's
Fulton
Coretta
County
Scott King.
in Fulton County Stadium. That's how far back. I mean, the Braves old
Yeah,
Fulton County, where the
old
yeah
stadium.
old state. Yeah,
Look, Coretta Scott King
yep,
in the box.
with us
Andrew
eating a
Young
hot dog. Yep,
eating a hot dog.
eating a hot dog and
Legacy
a Coke,
and
drinking
a
a Coke.
Coke
Yeah,
with some peanuts.
I don't know about the
And them
peanut.
peanuts were good up in them
It
boxes.
was good up in
They
the
put
box.
a little extra
It
salt
was
on
good in
them.
the
I
box.
don't know.
They put a little extra
But
salt on them because it was Coretta Scott King and her
you're right.
entourage.
And her entourage. But you look at this, and this is what it was built on. And then Dad tried to reinvent it a little bit later, but now you see the fruits of this. But it was always the foundations, and we
Yeah.
sometimes we get lost, and we see now with because our father met then during the first Freedom Bowls, a young NFL intern by the name of Roger
That's
Goodell,
right. And the
who
rest
was
they
sent
say
to
is
help
history. Yeah.
through the NFL
Mm-hmm.
to help
Mm-hmm.
establish that and with the scouting. And now Roger
And
Goodell
and
is
think about it, Ben, if you
the
remember,
commissioner of the NFL.
10 kids out of that game got drafted.
Got drafted.
Alexander the
So there's a
Great, you
long
FAMU,
history.
uh,
Yeah.
Alan
That was
Hooker.
the what
Yeah.
prompted FAMU to come back, wasn't it? They
Yeah.
brought some players, this
Yeah.
and
I mean,
FAMU back. But it, we look at the long history and to the point, many people don't know this
right.
and the greats that came through this game and the stuff that's been in place. Now it's just more popular now because certain brands have tied to it.
Right.
Celebration Bowl, ABC, NBC, ESPN and stuff. But the struggle is real.
Mm-hmm.
This, we were doing this in HBCUs since the '80s, but now you see the fruits of it, and now it's getting put
And
forth
it
to the
and it
national
pains me
stage.
when they talk about the history and they don't mention our father at all.
They don't mention,
And that's it's a travesty. And then you got
and he
your boy from Howard doing the analyst, Walker. Uh,
Jay Walker,
Jay Walker is the
Air Walker, Skywalker.
and he's doing the play-by-play. Don't mention anything about, it's just amazing.
But
Well,
that's why we're here with MEAC'n Up, so we can bring historical foundation so everybody can understand the basis for this. But these models are not new.
nope.
They were put in place, and so we just try to lift up Pop's legacy, and
Right.
hopefully, these things will carry on and continue to be a shining light on our schools and our athletes because some of the greatest have
Right.
come from our beloved
That's
HBCUs. You
right.
look until Emmett clipped them. You look at Walter Payton was the greatest running back all time leading rusher. Jackson State, Jerry Rice,
Yeah, that's right. Jackson State.
Mississippi
There
Valley State.
was Walter Payton was there.
Walter Payton, Jackie Slater, one of the greatest tackles in the NFL history from Jackson
Yeah.
State. The
Yeah.
MEAC. You you look at Harry Carson, South
Who
Carolina
played in
State.
the
Robert Forte.
who played in the Freedom Bowl? Uh,
Who's that?
Harry Carson. He
Harry
played.
Carson
Yeah, I mean, you could.
won Super Bowl with the Giants.
I mean,
So
Jerry Rice and
Bud
Jonathan
Williams.
Taylor, black college, on Super Bowl
Yeah, yeah,
championship
yeah,
team.
yeah, yeah.
So I
Yep.
mean,
Um,
my boy with the
and
Smurfs,
yeah,
Charlie
John Taylor.
Brown.
If Yep. And John Taylor, Delaware State in the building
Yeah,
was him and Jerry Rice were the 1-2 combo
yeah,
with the 49ers. I believe John Taylor helped free Jerry up a little
he
more. But
did.
but if it wasn't for HBCUs, Montana
Thank
and
you.
Young might not have got a couple more of them Super
I'm
Bowls.
telling you, man. I mean, John, what he got 2 or 3? I mean,
John,
yeah. I
he got
mean,
two.
you got Arch. I mean, come on, man.
Art
Donnie Shell. Oh,
Shell.
come on. Look at the Steelers' second defense back in the
Yep.
'70s. Think of like,
And
man,
that's just me acting swag. We ain't even talking about the
CIAA.
CIAA
No,
legend
you got
and the
Michael
SIAC
Strahan.
legend. Yeah, Michael Strahan, SWAC, all-time leading sack leader, Texas Southern University. So I'm gonna say this to all the kids out there: don't matter where you go, if you play, they'll find you. But
Mm-hmm.
you look at all the leaders of stuff that came from HBCUs.
HBCU,
So
Deacon
shout out.
Jones.
But
Oh yeah, Cash man.
yeah, hey, I'm telling you, just a long history. We got the Rams, with Yancey Thigpen,
Yeah.
the great Steeler, Winston-Salem State.
Oh yeah.
Uh, you, Robert Massey, who's coaching Winston-Salem
Yeah.
State, but Central grad, played in the NFL. So it's a lot of greats. It's a lot of greats, but we gonna be here to be one of those entities to keep the legacy restored and bring up that history. But
And I'm
I know
glad
we
y'all
done we
doing it.
done held time. We
Yeah.
done went over.
I'm
I'm sorry.
sorry.
We have a good conversation.
Y'all,
But
y'all got
Kid
me
Junior will be
riled
back.
up.
I told
Got
him.
me riled
I,
up.
I told him. Yeah, I told him if his ratings were good, we're gonna check the ratings after the show.
I would love to come back anytime to be with you fellas,
And cause he
man.
cause he's been known to start stuff.
I look.
He's an attorney at heart, so
I'm
they
trying to.
argumentative.
I'm trying to be peaceful, peace in the valley. We all about what y'all doing, and we all about one, information, love, and the kids, man, and making
That's
sure
right.
people do right by those kids, because we
Mhm.
gotta look out for them if
That's
anything
right.
else. So that's what we all about.
That's right. And we're gonna say this: MEAC, CIAA. If you need a basketball coach or athletic director, please contact Ken Free Jr.
Oh,
He built
they
programs
ain't
from the
ready.
ground up.
They ain't ready.
He's won a national championships on the high school level, state championship. Y'all better recognize. All right.
Building
Hey,
kids.
any last we go break it down because we'll be here all night
Yeah.
messing with y'all, man.
Yeah, we gotta stop that.
It's
Yeah.
past my curfew. No, but anybody got anything else? We gonna get more into the history a little, especially as we get closer
Yeah,
to these bowls, because we're gonna break down some of the bowl games and stuff as we get closer. But
exactly.
uh Mac, McKee, anything?
Go ahead, McKee.
Yeah, I look forward to drilling down deeper into the nooks and crannies of this in weeks to come, and uh, get into the weeds on what makes you Division One, what makes you Division Two,
Oh, I
how
like
tough it
that.
is for uh, HBCU Division Two teams to make
I
that
like
leap.
that.
That's a
I
big
like that.
controversy at those HBCU Division
I like
Two
that.
institutions. So look forward
I like that.
to digging deeper into that. And I'll say real quick in parting, with the recent Supreme Court decision with the University of North Carolina case, and the was it Yale? Was it Yale? That's where
Yeah.
those
Yeah.
years. But I would just challenge the HBCU community and to look at that as we continue to fight for access into those institutions, and we need to be everywhere. But it's both and. Let's enhance our institutions that we have always had and continue to have, and make them outstanding and well funded and supported. So if one has ambitions to making that leap and helping keep the MEAC great and solving it, as y'all two have just articulated, that we can do it, that we have the financial wherewithal to do it. So hey, if you love the details of HBCU sports, we got some good stuff coming in the next few weeks. Thanks for coming
Yeah.
on, Ken.
And
Thanks for
let me
that.
let me share something real quick. And EHBCsports.com has great history on this. I don't know if everybody can see that. But as you see, this was from the original 1984. You see our dad
Wow.
with Mr. Frank, in the first 1984.
Hmm,
You see it.
wow.
Look at that, man.
And the SWAC
Yeah.
one,
Oh, Swack and the Fool will
1984.
love this.
Yes.
Uh-huh.
Swack and the
Yes.
Fool will
Sam
love this.
Brooms.
Look at that. Oh
But
wow, man.
but we'll bring more of this to the forefront. We'll bring more of this to the
Wow,
forefront.
that's
But
great. That's
a
beautiful,
lot of
man.
history. Uh, but before we go, McKee, did you have a feature this week? I know we
Yeah, I'll save it the next week for the sake of time being.
okay, because once again on this platform, not only do we highlight the sports, but we like to highlight some of the achievements off the field, outside the arenas that our schools are doing. But we'll do it next week for the sake of time. But uh but I appreciate you coming on, Ken. We gonna
Thank you
have
for
you
having
back
me. Thank you
to,
for having
to stir up something
me.
and get more deep into history. Shout out to brother Mac and the UNCG Spartans with their
Gee.
homecoming and the Black alumni homecoming this week.
Oh,
Where's the
Um,
indeed.
football? Where's the football game?
oh,
Oh,
he took
I
that
believe
shot.
you call it soccer.
The pitch.
That
I,
that'll come into
I,
us. Oh
I
man,
had nothing.
that'll get get away with.
All I can tell you, kid, is you better not be nowhere I can find you come basketball season, dog.
Oh yeah, yeah.
Hey, guys.
Basketball season come, boy, I'm like everybody else.
I know it's gonna be a long season. It's gonna be a long season. I know. So I got to get it in while I can right now.
Hey, but that party that William Graves has, you ought to check it out.
Yeah, Kev. Yes.
I'm sorry, Kevin Graves.
I was about to say, Will
Yeah.
got one too.
We went to Carolina.
He might in Chapel Hill. No, but yes. Shout out to brother Kevin Graves, who did an excellent job speaking to our young people.
Yo.
Your frat
Frat.
brother.
Yeah,
I knew he was gonna get one in.
Yeah, man.
Hey, William and Kevin are related, so
they are.
Yeah.
And his mama used to play piano for us.
That's right.
Gloria.
That's right.
Who's that? Who's mom?
Will's mom.
Will Graves' mama did.
Gloria, yeah.
Gloria Graves.
Yeah.
That's his mama.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I never knew that.
Yeah.
Yep.
Oh.
Talented family.
Yes. Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
I did not know Gloria was his mom.
I didn't know she played piano, so that's a new one.
Yeah.
That's new to I did not know she played piano.
Oh, very well.
What?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I
didn't realize that was. I remember Miss Gloria.
Yeah.
Miss Gloria. Gloria. We're gonna sing that.
Lord have mercy.
That's for another episode. That's for the home. Hey, next week we're gonna get into homecoming because it's homecoming time. I'm gonna come back with a report of whatever. I don't care what the Aggies say. Benedict College, the greatest homecoming on earth. We know what it is. BC. You know.
Enjoy Columbia, man. Enjoy Columbia.
We will.
Columbia itself is a party. I will say that.
Yeah. Shout out to Two Notch Road.
That it is.
Yeah, Columbia.
2 Notch Road, you can get a little bit of everything.
That's right.
And I'm gonna leave it at that on 2 Notch Road. Get all you want.
Hey, this is the real show right here.
From end to end.
Hey, look, everybody here has had experiences with Columbia. Even though D Mac had a hateful experience, but we ain't gonna get in that.
Hey, McKee, that and Orangeburg.
Yeah, Orangeburg. Shout out to the Bulldog. So, and we're gonna talk about that too, because Benedict, we gotta save our coach from being coveted by the Bulldogs since this is Buddy Pugh's last season. So shout out to Coach Washington, the athletic director down there. We gotta make this move to the MEAC.
Bring that money.
I don't know if y'all old enough to remember presidential candidate Ross Perot. Some of you are.
Yeah, we all.
Yeah. He was talking about that. He was talking about immigration, that sucking sound coming from south of the border. It's a sucking sound coming from Orangeburg for that head coach of yours. And you can't stop it.
You can't stop it.
You can't stop it.
So we're gonna send this out to me.
The question is, Washington gonna come off that money?
Steals. Yeah. We're gonna send this out to MEAC Commissioner Sonya Steels. I need you to go after my Benedict College Tigers because that South Carolina State Benedict rivalry will be all that you need to bring back.
That'd be great.
That rivalry we lost with A&T leaving and Pham and Bethune leaving. So come on, Commissioner Steels, go after the Benedict College Tigers. Willie Washington, Coach Washington, please. Let's make that move. I hope he sees it. But on that note, we're going to...
Hey, one of our viewers is asking then, and maybe for next week, do y'all have the wherewithal to make that D1 jump financially and fill those teams and those extra scholarships and all that travel?
And that's what we need to. We'll hop on that. Yeah, we'll hop on that.
We'll tackle that. I'm gonna do my research when I get down there. Ask the right people the wrong questions. You hear me?
But that's the whole.
So on that note,
hey, man! I was in the midst of the Winston jump to MEAC. It was crazy.
And we gonna bring. Yes.
Yeah.
Because that's key.
I would love to be on that if y'all have.
Because let's look at it. Now I don't want to start up another. But had Winston fulfilled that jump, and we had that rivalry,
Oh
Winston
man,
Central.
it's shoot, man.
Would the MEAC be in the state it's in now?
No. Mm-mm. Mm-mm.
That was a big loss.
Mm-hmm.
So we'll tackle that next week. So y'all be ready. Stay tuned. Make sure you
Hey,
go to
Ben.
check out
I,
Mac and Free
dog.
on Instagram.
Hey, I can hear
Also, you
Coach
can
Terrence Graves from Southern University calling in. And we
tell them come on. Tell them come on.
man,
Look.
well,
Tell them come on. Tell them come on. After they watch the video and the game film on Sunday, tell them come on in and join.
hey Ken,
Come
that
on.
was not a popular move up in Winston-Salem. That was not a popular move.
Well, I have another theory on that too. So
Well, save that for the
That
stage.
sounds like Kitty's coming back next week.
in the words of our famous cousin Lizelle Free, scared money don't make money. Just leave it at that. Scared money
Yes,
don't
and
make money.
he is Mr. Vegas. So he knows that.
But we'll talk
Mr.
about that next
Vegas.
week. We'll talk about if you'll have me back. I would love to.
We're gonna check the ratings. We're gonna check the ratings.
Check the
Right now,
ratings,
it looks like we
man.
got our most live views.
Check the ratings.
So we go check the ratings and see how the fans responding to you. 'Cause they know you stir it up. So
I just
that's
want to
it.
put thoughts in their
Would you
minds.
indeed?
Mr.
Would you
Myers,
indeed?
South Carolina State, I want to put thoughts in their minds.
That's right.
Mr.
Would you
Myers.
indeed? Would
I'm
you
putting it in
indeed?
your
We got
mind.
the stirrers. We got the stirrers because we go.
Yeah, with
Because
that
look,
being said, we'll see you back next week. Don't worry about the
y'all
ratings.
stir the pot, and look, we need that pot stirred. We need that pot stirred to keep it live. We tried to be subtle and ease it in, but you came in swinging. So we go tackle that.
Because my Braves couldn't
So
swing anything. I had to do something.
that boy, they put that boy in. They know they was wrong for that to put that boy in. He went down looking. But we ain't gonna get into
All
that.
right, all
But
right.
shout out to all of you. I appreciate you all. And next week, matter of fact, names are not important. Mac and Free catch us on Fridays. And then me acting up every Sunday. Shout out to Swack and the Fool, the inspiration for this. We didn't give them props. So if those brothers see this, hey, we love you, love what you're doing down there.
Oh yeah.
Keep up the great job.
Yes,
You
sir.
the inspiration for this. So we can highlight these wonderful institutions. So on that note, we up out of here. We'll see you next week.
Peace.
Peace.